Wow. Okay. Did we go to Crossroads tonight or what? Because even though we won, I definitely feel like tonight was wild, if you know what I mean, man. Tonight was wild. I feel like it was completely unnecessary, what happened. I think even though I love Katie, she was definitely stirring the pot tonight. I think, damn, like, why? Like, we could have just had a relaxing evening, but I mean, I guess it's a game and you gotta play the game, right? But I am so glad that I got to touch base with Mike at the very end because he is my ride or die at this point. And I like his plan. I think it's super smart because obviously Philip is my biggest threat. Like, he is winning challenges, but we got to keep him around until Rendezvous, and then he has to go. Like, he is such a good player. He's a great player, and like, I don't know, like, it's hard because, like, as a person I do truly like him, but I don't, like, he is my competitor, you know? But I'm so glad I talked to Mike because now I know what's up. And like, hopefully this plan works if we do ultimately have to go to Crossroads before Rendezvous. But man, this was insane and it didn't have to be. And I'm a little bummed out that it was, but I'm also like living for it because it's great TV. So yeah. I don't know, man. Tonight was wild. I have no idea what Katie said to Philip, but Mike reassured me that I'm safe, I'm good. So I feel confident in that. Because I was nervous. Because, like, essentially I did throw Philip under the bus last night, but, like, I gotta save myself, right? Like, I was playing with the numbers, and I think I played a really good position. And I think I'm in a really good position now because of it. So that's how I see it. And I think the numbers are with me. So we'll see. But man, so much happened tonight. It's so stressful, man. I just want to sleep. I'm so glad we have an off day tomorrow so I can relax because, man, this game really puts you through it. Man, it's wild.
What's up, y'all, and welcome to another edition of Caro's Confessionals. Still over here working on the shelter. Hopefully it still don't get me voted off. Anyway, let's get back to Tuesday. We lost the challenge. I didn't do so hot. I really wasn't sure what was going to happen, so I kind of volunteered myself to go to the serrated edge, and I chose Mike to go with me because I thought he would give me more information than anybody. So I went there was a little thing, I picked an urn, I picked the wrong urn, Mike got the half a compass, but Mike did give me a clue, and I confirmed the clue by claiming it to Shane. But it's got me looking all over the internet. I've learned so much about Mount Denali, let me tell you. But I found everything but the advantage. Anyway, good talk. I got to know, what the dynamics are on the other tribe or the other party. I wasn't completely honest with our dynamics on our party because kind of made it feel like there was like a big girls alliance, which there may be, but I kind of feel like I'm intertwined with them, and I really feel like the 5 left over there are pretty good. We're pretty tight, and I think we could pull like a Mike or someone and go into a rendezvous with some numbers. I don't know, I kind of like where I'm sitting. I went back to camp. I made sure I told Josh about the clue and put him on it because I think he could figure it out. And I don't know if the girls are sketchy about that, but I don't know. I did it on Tuesday. I'm hoping the day off they kind of forgot about it. And I don't know, I'm just kind of hoping for a rendezvous. I just really think I'm still sitting pretty in this game. You know, let me get back to building the shelter. Oh!
Well, that was the most dramatic night of not going to a crossroads that we've definitely had so far. So, the challenge today was rebus puzzles, which I feel extremely confident in. I've done a lot of rebus puzzles with my wife. We've enjoyed screen sharing them and kind of like doing them together. But I'm always in my head of like showing people that I'm good at puzzles and good at certain challenges too early. But I think that that's just kind of an aspect of this game that I'm failing at right now in terms of, having done pretty well at several challenges. I don't think I have the biggest challenge threat. I think, Philip and Joshua might have the biggest challenge threat, but I feel like my target level is a lot higher than I was hoping to have at this point in the game. So that is something I'll have to work with. But after we won the Rebus Challenge pretty decisively, we came back and we chatted for a good 45 minutes or an hour. But then Katie started talking about how the reasons Philip gave her to vote for her at the last crossroads were not the same reasons that Mike had told her. And it turned into this thing, and I was like, I don't know what's happening, but Katie seems actually genuinely kind of upset about this. I pulled Katie into chat by the fire, and Katie said she was just blowing smoke and that she was trying to rile Philip up. But, I know Mike already doesn't trust her very much, and now I think, that's just going to widen the gap. Oh my gosh. And the biggest thing that happened, though, is that when I was maybe 20 minutes after Carl and Mike got to the serrated peak, Carl... So we selected Carl to go to the serrated peak because he asked to go, and he said he was on the bottom, which surprised us because Carl is an original Janet, and we're way outnumbering the original Kellys. So, if that tribal line was strong, then he shouldn't feel like that. So who knows what's going over there. But he ended up choosing Mike to go to the serrated peak. And about 20 minutes after they were there, I get a little message saying that someone has played a disadvantage on you. And that disadvantage being that I don't get a vote at the next crossroads. So that likely means that either Carl or Mike played it. And it was almost kind of a coin flip as to who it would be, because it didn't make a whole lot of sense for either of them to do that on me. And I've certainly kind of played more with Mike, but I had good vibes with Carl, and I don't think it seemed like something Carl would do to me. And because I'm close with Katie and because I've been protective of Katie, I think, Mike had a reason to maybe want to do that to me if he wants Katie gone or if he wants me gone. So I was interested in really talking to Mike when he got back. And when he got back, I talked to him, and he told me what happened. He said that he got half of a compass. And he told me that Carl, he wanted to give me a heads up that Carl, for some reason, had something out for me. And was throwing my name around. And then I shared the information with him that a disadvantage had been played on me and that Carl must have done it. And he was like, "What? You think Carl would do that? You think Carl would do that? Mike, I know you think you're a good liar. I know you do. But it's just not true. And I'm not really falling for it. I am almost positive that Mike is the one that played this on me. And it could be that he wanted to make a move on Katie, or he just knew that I was kind of getting in his way. It could be that he wants me out of this game and feels like he can use Philip or Bambi to do that. But I'm watching Mike now. I think I had a pretty good read on him from his response. He way overplayed it. And I don't think he knows I know. I'm almost positive he doesn't. I think he feels like he aced it. He aced it. That I still trust him even though he betrayed me. I don't, Mike. I don't. Mike's playing a great game. And I think he's thinking a few steps ahead, but he's clearly targeting someone that he thinks I wouldn't target, or he's potentially targeting me. But I have a lot of trust in Haley, and I don't think that she would let that happen if he tried to do it. But if he got Bambi and he got Philip, he could do it without Haley. But then he burns a bridge with Haley. Does he really want to do that? It's tough. It's really tough. But this is definitely the most precarious position I've been in so far. I have a compass, but the compass was gifted me by Katie. And as much as I want to play with my head, like, I'm very protective of her. And playing this game for two people is extremely hard. Extremely hard. And I am really struggling with how to play this. Because as much as I want to play with Katie, I'm not going to sacrifice my game for her. And I feel like, I hate hurting people personally. And I feel like I've gotten in really deep with Katie, and if I betrayed her, she would take it really personally, and it would hurt her outside of this game. And that is something I'm really struggling with. Because Katie's awesome. Katie's had quite the life and is quite the person. And if it comes down to it and I need the compass for me, I'm going to play it for me. But I'm not looking forward to those conversations with Katie if I do, inside or outside the game, Oh, man. Getting this compass from Katie has kind of been a blessing and a curse, because it's really... Oh, man. When the baby calls, the baby calls. But, yeah, it's kind of been a mixed bag with getting this compass from Katie, because I feel so indebted to her. With someone like her that's playing with her heart and playing with loyalty, it makes it so hard to go against her. I would just feel like such a jerk doing it, but the position I'm in is so hard because I think we're such a known duo at this point in a way. Some might even suspect a trio with Haley, that there's going to be people that are going to want to split that up. And if it gets split up, I can't be the person that is being split. It's so tough. Oh, it's so tough. But the biggest thing is that there are advantages and disadvantages and everything floating around. And I feel like I don't have a pulse on the majority of it. Mike says he has half an idol. Mike says he has half a compass right now. But if I'm right, and that he actually played a disadvantage on me, then I don't think he has half a compass. He might have one from a different point in time, but yeah, I'm kind of guessing he doesn't have one. He just wants to establish himself as someone not to mess with. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. We're getting to the pointy end, man. This is tough. And I had a really good conversation with Phil earlier about potentially looking out for each other. Because now that I feel like my target is growing, it might be the right strategy for me to hang out with other big targets for a bit. Because I do think Phil's a bigger target than me. I think he's probably the person to beat right now, honestly. He might be playing the best game. He's a smooth operator. He is, oh my gosh. Talking to him, it's, ooh, you just gotta love Philip. You gotta want to work with him. But the way he talks to you, you have to realize he's talking like that to everyone. And if everyone wants to work with Philip, and Mike has already said he wants to work with Philip, man, that's a dangerous person, because I know he's telling lies. And I know just from hearing him talk, like, I know he's good at telling them. So I don't know if that's someone I can trust, but I might have to for a vote or two. We'll see. But yeah, it's a tough position to be powerless in this game. And while I have a compass that at the next crossroads, I'm really gonna have to lean on people to really watch my back while I'm especially vulnerable. Might have been a mistake telling Katie that I lost my vote, because she's was a little erratic about it and seemed very concerned about me playing the compass. But I was trying to tell her, I was like, you can't convince me not to play the compass at the next crossroads, because we don't know what that situation is going to be. If one of us is in trouble, you would want me to play it. Like, you should want me to play it. So, don't tell me not to play something when we're still a couple days away from this crossroads where I'm not going to have a vote.
What's up, guys? Danielle here, Danny D. Just kidding. I am feeling a lot more solid in this game. I definitely thought I knew where I was standing a little bit more lately, especially after I stayed after Neil got taken out. And then when we were safe last round, because Josh won, and now here we are and we lost. Josh wasn't there. We really could have used him. That's just facts. The guy is smart as hell. We lost. That's okay. To me, I knew I wasn't going out. I know I had Mariana, and I was pretty confident I had Olivia. So it really could have come down to Josh or Jess, and I really think I could have steered that in whatever direction I wanted it to go. And I've seen benefits to both of these players, okay? There is Josh, who is a huge threat in the game, whatever, but I think keeping him would help keep Carl's loyalty, and also make people not think that me and Olivia and Mariana are a girls thing going on. And if we would have kept Jess, it would have very much looked like a girls full alliance, and I couldn't have that. That didn't look good for my game. We also chose to split the votes in case they did try to do something shady, and Mariana's playing it off like she had to do it, and it's like, hopefully it doesn't affect how Josh thinks of Mariana, but I was going to say something, and I ended up holding back,
because it's going to be good for my game, for them, and Olivia's and Mariana's for that matter, to think that we weren't as solidified as they would think we wanted to be. So Mariana, even voting Josh in the long run of things, was for in case an advantage was played, but it actually works better not making it look like we're all unanimous and united. So that was super smart. I think Jess is a lovely person. I am very sad to take her out of this game this early. I just wish we didn't lose and we didn't have to do that. I feel like she would have been a loyal player. It would have been good, but at the same time, she also was a number that people could have pulled, and where she could have had people that she specifically wanted to work with, probably potentially even over me. So it's what needed to happen. Jess needed to go. Josh is going to be a huge threat down the road. I know people are going to come for me. My time is ticking in this game, and I need to make sure the clock runs out at number 1. So I know it's going to be a battle. Mariana down the road is going to come in huge to my game. She will tell me information most likely that if we didn't know each other, I won't get. So that's a huge advantage. I feel like the longer me and Olivia are together, the closer we're getting, the more if something was to happen, Olivia would tell me. The fact we just saved Josh, I know Josh thinks that I probably had a huge part to do with that. I think Josh will be loyal to me. Carl already wanted to be loyal to me, and that will probably affect him as well. So this is going really good for my game. Mike on the other side, apparently on the outs a little bit with Bambi. Philip, we don't want him here, but if I end up needing Philip for numbers, then, maybe. But Philip definitely does need to go because he is such a strong competitor. But if we link up in Rendezvous, we have Mariana, me, Olivia, Bambi, and Mike. Like, that is solid. We can really go whatever direction we want. Bring in David and Haley. Bring in Carl and Josh. Hopefully a few votes will be majority votes and no cards have to be shown right away. And we get out some players that need to go. I really liked Haley, but she is a comp piece and a very smart woman. So Haley will have to go sooner than later as well. It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. Having a blast as always, and looking forward to the day off. My life is chaos, to regroup and get my life in order to be back on Thursday. So see you guys later. For now, that's the tea, baby.
What on earth was that? Tonight, Kagwantan, we won the challenge. We didn't have to go to Crossroads, but I feel like I just went to Crossroads. Oh my gosh, I was worried that having that 2 hours of just camp time was just going to be full of boring stories, but the game is on. Tonight we started with our challenge. I am not feeling great about my challenge abilities. I didn't get any points for us tonight, even though I was very, very close in both rounds, but hopefully that's just keeping threat level low for when we come together for Rendezvous. But we win, which feels great. We go back to camp. We start off with all the nice pleasantries. Mike was taken to the serrated peak with Carl. I did not agree with the decision to send Carl. I thought it made more sense to send an original team Kelly, like Jess, so that maybe they could target Mariana, because I've heard that Mariana and Philip are close to each other. So I thought that would be a good person to get out, but I couldn't really explain that to my party. So it went with Carl. So Mike's gone. We're there, we're just chatting, and all of a sudden, Philip and Katie are going at it. Katie will take any vote very personally against her, so if she's getting voted out, she's gonna have to go. I'm sorry, Katie, we can't face your scorn coming back from a Crossroads. So they're going at it, and then I'm talking to David, and David is telling me that he got a disadvantage given to him, so we're wondering who that's from, and he's thinking from Mike and Carl, but I'm like, we're supposed to be solid with Mike, it should not be from Mike. I'm thinking maybe Philip got something the night before and it's just being sent now. But that could be anything. So he cannot vote at the next crossroads, which could be very dangerous. Then we go back and Philip and Katie talk, but I don't think anything's resolved. Mike's being thrown under the bus. It's all crazy. Mike comes back. He tells us a little bit about the time at the Serrated Peak, him and Carl hanging out. He pulls us aside. He's got half a compass, which could be really good for us. But I feel more exhausted after tonight than after a crossroads. I have no idea where everyone's head's at. I want us to stay strong and be able to keep going to this rendezvous. But, oh my gosh, I'm telling you, the game is on.
Well, I got voted back out just as soon as I got voted back in. Yikes. None of those people should be playing poker. They're not very good liars, but that's okay. They all said it was supposed to be Josh, so I voted Josh because I didn't want to make waves, but I knew it was going to be me. I knew it was going to be me. So my time in the game is over. Are y'all going to miss me? I would if I were you. Just kidding. I had fun. Thank you to all the mods and the show hosts and the production. You guys did a fantastic job. I had a lot of fun. The challenges were great, all except for that damn ping pong challenge with the forks and the rubber band. That challenge sucked. The rest were fun. I had a great time, guys. Thank you for having me. So thanks for having me, and good luck to the winner of Expedition Online Season 3. There's some fantastic players. I know who I'm rooting for. Do you all want to know who I'm rooting for? I'll let you know tomorrow.
Today's a really rough day for me. I've got Crossroads in about 30 minutes, and I haven't been on. I haven't been on this entire time. I went to go do some charity work for my business class, and they told me I'd be back by 8:30. So I thought, okay, perfect. I'm gonna be back for at least the challenge. You know, I'll miss that first 30 minutes. Here I am at almost 9 o'clock, still sitting in this room listening to people give speeches. And I'm getting pissed, and I'm like, oh my God, I have to get out of here. And so I show up, and there's only 30, 40 minutes for me to actually get in on what's happening. And at this point, I know the 4 girls that are still in the party are probably talking about voting out the one guy, which is interesting. So I have to do a lot of catch up at this point, and it's not going to be fun. On top of that, I also heard that the other party was going to send me to the horizontal peak or whatever. I don't remember what it's called, but the Glacier Peak or something. And the other party was going to send me, and then Carl speaks up at the challenge and says, hold on, you gotta send me. I'm endangered. Look at what's going on here. You know, and like, Carl, bud, I didn't show up for the challenge. I would have actually helped. Don't you think I would have been in more trouble? So the chicken to my waffles has left me dry, and that's not good. That's not something that I need to be happening. I understand it from a game level, but I don't think it was the smart move for Carl. So I guess we'll see how that plays out. I'll have to see what he says when he comes back, but as of right now, I'm questioning chicken and waffles. I guess we'll see when he comes back, because he could come back with some good information. I've got half a compass. If he comes back here with half a compass, I might not feel so bad about voting Jess out. But for right now, I don't know what's gonna happen. I'm gonna have to jump into some of these calls and hope that I'm given a bone. I have a bad feeling about this crossroads, so I guess stay tuned. So I actually finally got to talk to some folks, which was just so relieving for me to actually just sit down and be able to talk strategy and not feel like I'm being on the outs and being a little secluded from the rest of the group. There is one person who's not giving me a lot, and that is Jess. And from what I'm gathering from the other folks is that Danielle, Mariana, and Olivia are all on board voting Jess out, but they want to make sure that Jess feels comfortable. So, of course, Jess is thinking right now, the vote is me, which, of course, is not the best thing for me to hear. I wanted to go through this game not having any votes to my name for as long as possible, and it seems like tonight might be that night. When I chat with Jess, I have to tell her a name. And so I just say, hey, I think Mariana is the person I have the least amount of connections with, and I think it would be more beneficial for me to work with you than it would for me to be Mariana. And I tried to ham up, we both have a half a compass, we can protect each other moving forward. And Jess is just like, I don't buy it. I think it's gonna be the one of us. I think it's gonna be me. And like, Jess, it is gonna be you, but it's not gonna be you, because why would they vote you out? You're one of the girls. And it's hard having to fake this, because I know just like I'm doing what I gotta do to vote out Jess, but I really just don't want votes. That's why I'm doing the most. So I'm expecting to get a couple votes because Jess is giving me zilch, and I think it'll be a 4-1 vote. I'm not worried, because I think she's telling the truth when she said she only had one half of a compass. Because if she had more than that, then I could be in trouble, because I believe she's going to be voting for me. I would love if she voted Mariana and it was 4-1, but, it's whatever. Mariana also knows that I'm trying to push her name, because I asked her for permission. I said, hey, you mind if I, vote, if I try to get Jess to vote you, and she said, yeah, that's fine if that's what you have to do, to make it not seem like you're doing her. So I'm trying to build up trust with Jess, but in the back of my mind, I'm like, well, Mariana knows I'm voting for her, and if she thinks that Jess is going to vote for her, then she might vote for me to make sure that even if it does tie, she's going to be all right. And that kind of sucks, but, that's the game I have to play at this point. I can't freak out and be like, I can't be a gorilla, I can't be a dog and just start barking. I have to be calm and just let it happen, because it could be a problem. It could be something that could be used against me later on. I hope that I've shown my loyalties in asking people, hey, is it okay for me to do this? Or hey, we got to do this. This is a good plan, I think. And trying to show them that I'm here for them and not just myself. So I'm hoping that's kind of what they've been getting from me. Oh, Crossroads is going to be really fun. I'm trying to be acting. I'm trying to make it seem like I know it's me, when in reality I know it's not, but it still could be, So it's just nerves. We'll see how it goes, I guess. So we just had Crossroads, and Carl comes back, and I'm not too mad about it. We voted out Jess, and it was 3-2, which I wasn't quite in the nose about the 2 votes. I figured I was getting 1, but the second one came as a surprise. Wasn't quite aware that it was going to happen. I had kind of figured it would be a possibility to kind of save Mariana's skin, or at least give her a chance in case Jess had something, but it still kind of stings a little bit, but that's okay. That's all right. It's no problem at all. I'm gonna play with the cards I have. I'm gonna be relaxed and I'm not gonna worry about it. This is a game and we have to play the game. So, no ill will towards Mariana, but it will be forgiven but not forgotten. Carl comes back and he's constant Carl. He talks and we listen. That's how it works. And, he was talking about what serrated edge was and it sounded fine, He said Mike got something, so I don't know if it was really the best idea for him to say Mike had something, but that's okay. It's all right. We know Mike has half a compass now, which is great for my game and great for Carl's game. These girls, maybe not so much. I'm excited to go talk to Mike. I wish I was able to be the one to go talk to him at serrated edge, but that's okay. That's not a problem. And then Carl pulls me off to the side and tells me, okay, here's what really happened. And of course, the Mike thing still happened. Mike got the half a compass, at least that's what he's telling me. And he said also, hey, just write this down right now. And he gave me a set of coordinates and a phrase. The phrase is, the best adventures begin at dawn. And the coordinates lead to Mount McKinley, or Denali, which is the highest land mass in the United States, and I believe North America. It resides in Alaska and is a part of, you guessed it, Glacier Bay National Park. This is something big. I don't know what to do with it quite yet. I'm still figuring that out, but it could be a clue to something good, and I'm excited to try to crack this code. I might need some more information though, so I'll have to do some digging around, and if I stumble upon something, wonderful. Glad that Carl trusts me enough to give me at least this information. I think that shows where he stands with everybody in the group, but I also think it was kind of suspicious of him to kind of call me out and say, hey, I need you, right in front of the other girls too, which could put us on the outs, so we'll have to see. But I'm very thankful for Chicken and Waffles, and I think this kind of proved, even though he kind of threw me under the bus a little bit at the last challenge, saying they needed to save him and not me, I understand it. I get it from a gameplay standpoint. I'm still here, and I think he trusts the girls a lot more now because I'm still here. So I think it's a win-win for all of us, especially for me, though, because Carl is a little bit overplaying, I feel like. I'm excited. I'm really hoping we rendezvous soon. I want to get rid of Phil. I want to be the one who puts the nail in his coffin. And I don't think Carl really wants to be a part of that, or at least he says Mike doesn't want to. So I don't believe that. I think Mike would do it, especially if he feels like we're good. So I don't know. I guess we'll have to figure that out. But I'm feeling good. Even if I have a couple votes to my name now, I'm still solid. I'm still good. The only thing I gotta make sure doesn't happen now is if there's another exemption challenge between the parties and not as an individual, I have to kick butt to win that challenge, because I could be the next one to go if we do end up going to another crossroads. So that would be very problematic. So I'm hoping I hope we do the rendezvous soon, and that's all I can really hope for at this point. Oh gosh.
5 minutes.
Almost not trusting any of the guys now because they're being little shits. Is that my phone? Psychic expert. I don't need any damn psychic. Anyway, I'll get out of my phone. Yeah, so maybe that's not my phone. Oh, it's my son's phone, but I did get a thing. Oh, he has vocal lessons in 24 minutes. Aw, he's such a good kid. I love my children. I love my chillins. So, I'm gonna have to change up my thing because these guys are starting to think that I'm a contender, which I was never trying to come across like that. I was just trying to come across as some kind of dingbat, which usually works for me. Excuse me. Philip was asking like way too many questions, and as I mentioned before in these confessionals, don't ask me questions. That's the worst thing for me anyway, because I'm just going to tell you what it is. So it's really difficult. My friends think it's hilarious because they're like, we never know what she's going to say, because it's like totally unfiltered.
Hi everyone, it's Mariana with my day 7 update video. Alright, let's just jump right into it. Tonight we had a Rubik's puzzle challenge, which I would say I know a decent amount of puzzles, but some clues or pictures together I just don't do well with. So, and that kind of showed today. So unfortunately I was not able to get much points for my team. I only got 1 point for my team, which whatever. But yeah, we were pretty much down by 2 points, and we couldn't pull through. However, I was surprised that it was even a party challenge. Like, I was thinking we were going to get to Rendezvous today, but when we first entered the challenge, we saw that Philip was still here. So it looked like Philip had like a fake, I don't know, cast out, I guess. Like, he never was truly sent packing, which kind of, I'm glad Philip is here, but at the same time, like, I'm very cautious and nervous because everyone on my party think that Philip and I are like a pair because he keeps raving about me. So I'm gonna have to see how to handle this, because obviously he's not going home tonight because Crossroads happened on my party. So I'm gonna have to figure out, you know, where I should stand with Philip. Like, I like him, but if he's gonna pull me down, then I don't want to deal with that. So now let's talk about what happened at my party chat. Well, someone has to go packing, right? So pretty much my whole party, we were just like all jumping around. Unfortunately, Josh didn't make it to the challenge. He had school, which is understandable. Thankfully he made it to the Crossroads session, or yeah, even like our party discussion. And then Carl, as you guys may have seen, Carl got chosen to go to the Serrated Peak, where he will probably get some sort of advantage, and it was either going to be, so he went with Mike and him, so one of them are going to get some sort of advantage. Yeah, so that means it's me, Danielle, Olivia, and Jess deciding to vote, and Josh. But for a few minutes, it felt like the girls were going to control the vote. I originally had mentioned Josh, but that was, you know, based on nothing. If the girls really want to stick together, but then Danielle pulled me to the side and like, okay, Mariana, let's actually get rid of Jess. I'm like, you know what, that's fine with me. So it was like this big paranoia that went on into the party chat. So like, Jess thought it was Jess knew it was Josh from us girls, but then the girls, and Josh, you know, they're like, okay, yeah, let's get rid of Jess, but then Josh, to kind of make Jess feel a little bit safe, he said my name, which I'm like, okay, that's fine with. So Jess thought it was either going to be me or Josh. And pretty much we were just trying to make sure that Jess didn't play any compasses, make sure she feels safe. She told us she had a half compass, but we just wanted to confirm that just in case she had a full compass, but she didn't. And then Josh was going to play his token just in case, but he didn't either, which was good because then he saves it for later. Yeah, there was some crazy paranoia at the party chats, because at first we didn't know what was going to happen with Josh, but then if Josh plays a token, then neither of them could go, so it would have been just like a, you know, and then I was thinking like, do I use my token just in case? So thankfully, Jess went home, and I'm happy that I voted for Josh. I know I technically threw it, but I'm glad that Jess knew that at least I didn't vote for her, because I told her, yeah, I want to vote for her. Like, I won't say your name. So I'm glad I was able to, say, at least I'm able to say I didn't vote for Josh and kept her safe. But yeah, I just have to do what I have to do. If Danielle trusts Josh, then I have to, roll with it. Yeah, and Carl came back and told us what happened at Serrated Peak, something about 2 urns, and Mike probably got it, so we'll see if that's truly the case. I was really nervous that Neil was going to be at Serrated Peak, just because he knows about me and Danielle, which again, I regret. I don't know why I told him, but yeah. So hopefully he wasn't there, and then that way no one will ever know about Danielle and I. But if he was there and Carl's lying, then I'm screwed. But yeah, I guess I'll have to send one of my people there to figure out who was at Serrated Peak. But I'm hoping Neil wasn't there. But yeah, I'm hoping I'm hoping tomorrow's gonna be a rendezvous, and then I can figure out my game individually, and I won't be a target, because there's so many bigger targets out there or threats out there, and yeah. So have a good day, guys, and I will talk to you tomorrow.
Okay, so what an episode. First things first. We go to the challenge. The challenge is rebus puzzles, which I'm fairly decent at. So I feel really confident going in. I know Philip is probably going to be really good at them too. I'm really excited that he's coming back into the game. I know he's probably coming back with an advantage of some sort. So I'm feeling really good, and I've been thinking kind of through some scenarios where I potentially could maybe get Katie out of this game. Because I think she is my biggest threat. On the flip side of that, we go to the challenge, we compete, and we destroy the other party. Like, I think it ends up being 8-4 by the end of it. We just mop the floor with them. Mostly Philip. Philip gets all 3 of his. I don't get to do a third one, but I got one. So just between the 2 of us, we got half the points that we needed. And then I think David stepped up twice and won both times. I'm not really sure. I think Bambi won both times. So we rocked it. Like, we really did very, very well. We won, and we get told that we have to send somebody to Serrated Peak. So I wanted to send Olivia, basically to hopefully like gain some info with her, when rendezvous happens, like give her something to make her feel like she's got, something from our side, right? We protect her, we keep her safe, whatever. Carl speaks up, and Carl says, I'm in trouble. Okay, like, I don't know where that comes from. I don't know what that means. But immediately my party's like, yep, let's just send Carl. Carl thinks he's in trouble. Let's just send him. It makes the most sense. Even Philip's on board. So I'm like, okay, I know full well that he's going to pick me for Serrated Peak. He picks me for Serrated Peak. So he gets to choose somebody to take with him. He picks me. This is not the best case scenario. But I knew he would pick me. That's why I really didn't want to pick him. But this prevents me from talking to Philip. I have no time to connect with Philip and make sure that he and I are okay moving forward in this game. So I get to Serrated Peak with Carl. Carl is a blast. I mean, he's just such a fun guy to be around. We had a couple of beers. We just kind of, shot the whatever with each other, and we end up playing a game on Serrated Peak, and it's 2 urns. There's a dark urn and a light urn, and I basically tell Carl, I was like, listen, we selected you to go. you pick the urn. Like, you pick whichever urn you want. So he picks the dark urn. I end up with the light urn. I end up with a half compass. This is beyond amazing. However, Carl decides that he's going to try to persuade me to give it to him, because then he tells me that Joshua has half a compass. So not only do I now know that Joshua has half a compass, which I have now told nobody else. Nobody else knows that Josh has a half compass. I'm not going to blow up his game. I hope that doesn't come back and bite me. But I don't tell anybody about Josh's half compass. Carl then just goes on a Carl tirade, which is fine. He's gonna dig his own grave eventually. So I just kind of let him kind of spew. He basically tells me that he knows Katie has a full compass, and that he's pretty sure Philip has a half compass. That Neil had a half compass, lied about it, so they all voted him out. I don't know. So that's why they voted Neil out. So I basically have that information to, like, take back to Philip. Like, this is why Neil's gone. I'm still willing to, like, work with you and protect you and figure something out with you. Carl also basically is like, we need to flip this game at some point. At some point Janet needs to turn on Janet. And so, like, yep, totally get that. He basically throws David's name out there. I'm cool with that. You throw names out there, Carl. So he tells me that he wants to vote off David. I basically give him very little. I basically say, like, yep, I like Philip. I like Bambi. Carl goes through the gamut of names saying, like, we need to vote this person off. We need to vote this person off. We shouldn't work with this person. So I'm like, okay. So he just kind of, like, gives me his whole game, like, shows me his whole hand, I think. So I'm cool with that. Like, all right, cool, Carl. Now I know exactly where you stand, and I know exactly who you're connected to. Perfect. So this is actually good for me. Like, give me all the info. That's fine. I don't know who's going to go home. I don't think Carl is as privy to, like, the dynamics as he thinks he is. He thinks that Josh and him are on the outs. I don't really believe that's true. I think Mariana and Jess are on the outs, and I hope that they are. If they're not, then I have to reevaluate kind of what I'm going to do with Olivia and Danielle at this point. But I really like Bambi. I want to work with Bambi. I think the two of us could make a really fun pair to get to the end. So I'm trying to work with Bambi. Serrated Peak ends. I go back to my party into a total bonfire of crazy, because I get there and Philip immediately is like, Katie walks away. She's like, oh, I'm going to go do something. I don't remember what she had to go to the bathroom. So she leaves and Philip's like, Mike, can I steal you? Because there was some crazy stuff going on. And I'm like, and I just see David and Haley like, I'm like, okay. So I go off with Philip, and Philip basically tells me that Katie is throwing my name under the bus, saying that I told him different things about his vote out, his desertion. I'm just like, I know, like, I said none of that. So I did, apparently, because I didn't understand from Philip's perspective, like, what was being said. So I basically told Philip, I was like, listen, Philip, Carl and I want to still work with you. I'm still good with you. He's like, great, because I think you, me, and Bambi could flip this game around. I was like, okay, cool. So I then go to David. So I tell Philip about my half idol. I just tell him. I'm like, yep, I got a half idol. Like, I'm not going to, why would I lie to you? So I also tell David and Haley. I tell them both I have a half idol. David confirms to me that Katie is throwing my name under the bus. So I'm like, oh, okay, so Philip's telling the truth. That's really frustrating, because Katie was somebody that I knew was going to be a bit, off into the game, right? Like, and just kind of like saying whatever kind of comes to her. She's very chaotic. I like her. She's a very wonderful person, and I'm really getting to know her and like her. But at the end of the day, not only is she kind of a threat in the game, but she's also dropping my name to people that she's trying to like persuade not to vote for her again. So I'm like, I can't have Katie in this game. So I tell David that. Then Philip, I forgot to tell you. So Philip also tells me that he could steal somebody, he could eliminate somebody's vote. And he's already picked David. He had to do it. He had to pick somebody. So he already picked David. So I'm like, oh, okay. David then tells me that he got a disadvantage. I tell David before that Carl's coming after him. So then David goes, okay, I'm going to tell you something, and this makes more sense now. And I was like, oh? He's like, I think that he got a disadvantage. Or he could give a disadvantage to somebody. I was like, what do you mean? He's like, I have a disadvantage. I got a disadvantage. I was like, what's your disadvantage? He's like, I lost my vote. And I was like, oh. I already knew that. I didn't tell him that, but I already knew that. So now I have this information, right? So David's trusting me, letting me know that he doesn't have a vote. Philip trusted me, telling me that he took David's vote. I didn't tell David that I knew where that came from. He thinks it's Carl. In literally less than 10 minutes, I have created more chaos without even knowing it. So now David thinks that Carl's 100% against him, took away his vote. David's like, I understand like what you need to do. Like, I don't have a vote right now, so it is what it is. I was like, okay. So then I go to Haley. I go, I know about David's vote. I have a half idol. I tell David about my half idol too. I basically am like, listen, I'm with you guys. Like, the three of us, we can like pull this to the end. Great. Cool. Go to Bambi. Let her know, hey, we're solid. We're good, or 100%. Which I'm being honest about. I really want to go to the end with Bambi. Or at least, go as far as I can with Bambi. So I'm good with that kind of core. I've rectified things with Philip. Now I got to talk to Katie. I've got like 4 minutes left of camp time. So I go to Katie. I pull her over to the fire. I basically am like, just tell me your side. I trust you. I really don't understand what's going on or what's being said. Just tell me what happened. So she goes, well, he came in saying like, this was the reason why I voted for you, and this was the reason why I voted for you. And he didn't say the reason that you told me. And I was like, what do you mean? And she's like, well, you told me it was because I was a poker player. And I was like, well, yeah, that was something. She's like, well, I just said that you didn't say the two other reasons he gave. And I was like, okay. So I kind of trust that from her perspective, that's what she said. But I also trust that it was this chaotic conversation about why Philip voted for Katie. Katie is so upset that she got this vote from Philip, who we voted out, who she didn't vote out. Like, there's this whole, dynamic with Katie that's like, she is so hurt and dismantled by getting voted for that it's really going to be hard to vote her out. But, once she's voted out, nobody has to worry about that, right? She can't come back at us, but now she could potentially be on a jury, which worries me because I really don't want to deal with, her whatever on the jury. But, it is what it is. Katie is a poker player. She has done some really interesting things in this game so far. She's been to Serrated Peak. She's used her token already, which potentially could have protected her, because she did get a vote that Crossroads. So, she's playing an interesting game. So I don't really want to count her out, but I also want to make sure that if I am going to go after her, since she also admitted to me she has a compass, I have to make it so that she does not think that she's getting voted out. So if we go to Crossroads on Thursday, I have to persuade her that everyone is voting for Philip, but really Philip, Bambi, and I are voting for Katie. And I know that Philip doesn't have a vote. I know that David doesn't have a vote. Philip knows that David doesn't have a vote. Haley knows that David doesn't have a vote. We've just got to make it so that Haley doesn't use the compass. Or Katie doesn't use the compass. Sorry, I'm confusing everybody. So I need to make sure that Haley doesn't know, but I don't want to lie to Haley. But I don't want her to tell Katie to use a compass. So I'm going to tell Haley at the last minute. If we have to go to Crossroads. I'm hoping for a rendezvous. I'm hoping all this information kind of like shakes out, and I hope that Katie is kind of like the first target in the game of the rendezvous, because I think that's the time to get her out. If not, we flush a compass, and we end up voting out probably a Kelly. So I'm not too worried about her using it at rendezvous. So I'm hoping we rendezvous. We can flush the compass or vote Katie out. If not, we just got to play. If we lose and go to Crossroads, we just got to play out that vote as carefully as possible, because David doesn't have a vote. So that's my confessional. A lot to talk about. I don't even know if I said everything, but yeah, I am very interested to see how things kind of shake out now, because I could potentially pair an idol with Joshua. I can pair an idol with Philip. So I'm feeling slightly more confident than I did before this round, but I'm skeptical, because now that I have this half idol and I've been to Serrated Peak, my target has gone up a bit. So let's just kind of play it out, see what happens. I'm excited to have something in my pocket. If I can't use it, I can't use it, but I'm going to do what I can to shake things up. So wish me luck.
So we got rid of Jess, which honestly I was sad about it, because she did just come back in the game, and I feel bad immediately voting someone out that just comes back in, and I know how badly she wanted to be there. But in the long run, I do think it was better for my game to vote her out over Josh, who I feel like was the other option. Carl has said to me that like Josh is his ride or die besides me, and he's also been really worried about a girls' alliance, which exists, but he doesn't need to know about it. And he was saying multiple times after he saw that Jess was voted out, he was like, I'm so relieved now that I know that there's no girls' alliance. And like, you have no idea how worried I was that you guys were going to take out Josh because all the girls were going to stick together. And we were all just like giggling to ourselves, because like there is a girls' alliance. He just doesn't need to know about it. And yeah, I mean, as much as I want to like go to the end with the girls, I also am super close to Carl. And I've known him for a lot longer than anybody else. So I do also like have to keep his allies and like his game in consideration when I'm like making decisions for what best furthers my game. And I was a little hesitant to trust Josh at first, just because he's like seen every season of Survivor. He knows how the game works, and he definitely seems like a really smart, strategic player. But I don't know, he's given me more reasons to trust him. I was kind of worried that like Josh and Jess were gonna talk amongst themselves and just like realize that we were each telling the other person like the other person's name. So we were like telling Jess to vote for Josh and Josh to vote for Jess, and I was worried that they were gonna like put two and two together and be like, yeah, these girls are playing us and we should put our two half compasses together and play our whole compass. I was so worried that that was going to happen. And then Josh was talking about how he was going to play his token, and we were like, you know what, the safest route is just to vote Jess. She doesn't have a token because she came from the secluded island, so she didn't get one. And it's just a lot simpler. Like, we don't make Carl mad. We don't make the other people from original Team Janet mad for getting out Josh. And we get rid of a Team Kelly who we really don't know what she's going to do because we don't know her loyalty since she's never voted with us, and she seems really nice, but we also like can't fully trust her yet. And I think going into a potential rendezvous today, it's going to be good to have options with the girls and then with Carl and probably Josh, because I know if Carl is as close to Josh as he says he is, I mean, they've been together the whole game, he probably isn't going to let Josh come after me or target me, since Carl is also looking out for me, which is good to have like another number, another person who's not coming after me. So I'm feeling pretty good about the rendezvous that's probably going to happen today, and I hope I can win a challenge because it was so frustrating to be that close in the last challenge and then just like blow it at the end for my party. And of course I was against Philip of all people and he beat me, which makes me even more angry. But hopefully I can pull through in this next challenge because I want to start doing better in challenges. But yeah, feeling good about the rendezvous.
Well, that was a wild one, and we didn't even have to vote anybody out. So when we got into camp, Mike was gone at Serrated Peaks, but he clearly was put on blast by Katie. So when we got back, Katie said that, I told Katie, like, she was pretty upset that I voted for her. Understandable. I get why she wanted an explanation, and I gave her the explanation that was my explanation for voting her out, for trying to vote her out, which I was at the bottom of the numbers. She was doing eeny, meeny, miny, mo. I didn't think she had the numbers, and so that's, the route that I went. And she came in and said, that's not what Mike said. He said all this stuff. He said something completely different than what you told me. But she never had a one-on-one conversation with Mike. She was with everybody, and Mike just told her that she was a high-stakes poker player, which I had also said to the team. So then, I talked to Mike, cleared that up just to confirm, came back, and then Katie said that that someone had messaged her that she needed to go, but then she later admitted to Bambi that she was just making that up. So I love Katie to death, but I can't trust her in this game. And so she also told me she had a full idol, that someone else gave her one. So a lot of things are just not adding up right now. And, we'll see what happens later. But, she's clearly not happy with me and doesn't trust me in this game right now. And I think that's because obviously me voting her out didn't help. And that was never going to be good for anybody there. But, this is a fun game, and we'll go from here. So, good night.